Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to be looking at Venus in Gemini, and we'll have a look at what do you value, what do you need in a relationship, and also how you are with money. What is your relationship with money? To have a good understanding of what it means to have your Venus in Gemini, you first will need to have a good understanding of what Venus is all about and what Gemini is all about. Because Gemini, this is the male mutable air sign that's ruled by Mercury. So let's start off and look at Venus. Venus is our values. It's very much a lustful energy. It's what we attract and what we're attracted to. Our Venus sign lets us know how we relate to people. It represents love and beauty and peace and harmony. And it's also, of course, a relationship indicator and a money indicator of what you need. Now, Gemini rules over the third house in a birth chart. So the third house, this is the house of siblings, local travel, thinking and communicating. It's a thinking and communicating house. It's ruled by Mercury. And Mercury, this is the fastest moving celestial body out of all of the planets. It zips around really, really quick. It also co-rules Virgo, but it also rules here in Gemini. And Gemini is an energy. This is a dual energy. It's the twins. It's mutable. It's fast. It's changeable. Adaptable. It's in the first quadrant of a birth chart, the third house, and this represents the younger years in our life. So there's a childlike and jovial nature that comes with the Gemini energy. Now, of course, you do need to take into very, very careful consideration your house placement and how your Venus sign is actually aspected to how this is going to play out for you. Because, of course, a Venus conjunct Saturn is a very different story to someone with Venus conjunct Jupiter, for example. And also, if your Venus is in Gemini, then you're going to be one of 5 sun signs. So you're either going to be an Aries sun, a Taurus sun, a Gemini sun, a Cancer sun, or a Leo sun. And as we go through the video, I'll touch upon the different examples of those expressions. But let's get into the video, guys. I just wanted to get that bit out of the way because you should never look at just one astrological placement in your chart anyway and make judgments based off that. You need to look at the whole in context. So let's have a look at what a Venus in Gemini values. You guys very much value your freedom and your independence. Being free, this is mutable air. This isn't a sign that likes restriction, likes to feel stuck doing anything or to be labelled as just one thing. This is mutable, this is a changeable archetype. They also like to have a lot of fun. As I said at the beginning, it's the first quadrant in the birth chart. So the earlier years, there's a childlike, jovial nature with the Venus in Gemini. They like to have fun, they like to have a laugh, like to go out and about locally in the local area. It's a very much social butterfly type of person. You guys value being able to communicate and freely use your mind, and you love understanding other people's minds and how they work. Because this is a dual energy, you are able to see more than one point of view, and you love being able to do that. Seeing two sides to a story, 3, 4, 5 sides to a story. You can see a different point of view. And because Mercury is such a fast energy, as I said, and it's very changeable, Gemini as an archetype, as a rule, you guys like to be busy. You value being busy and feeling like you've got multiple things to do at once because you're amazing multitaskers. You're also really good debaters, as I said, with your mental skill set, that you're going to want to be able to flex that sometimes and just show off your mental wit. But in general, just being mentally stimulated is very important for a Venus in Gemini. You don't like boredom. Boredom isn't something that you value. Doing nothing isn't something that you value. You like to be up and about and doing things. And when I was prepping for this video, and I was just trying to think of a visual representation of Venus and Gemini, and what came to my mind was, you know meerkats. So when all the meerkats are popping up like boop, 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 boop. Each one of those meerkats is like a different idea in a Venus and Gemini's mind, where they want to do this, they want to do this, one do this, and it's all different directions of different things to do. And that's just what came to my head, and I wanted to share that with you guys. Do you get what I mean? Meerkats. So let's have a look now at what a Venus and Gemini needs in a relationship, or what you can expect from a Venus and Gemini person if you're not a Venus and Gemini yourself and you're just watching to try and get to understand these people. What can you expect? And of course, the Venus sign is going to express differently depending on your sun sign. But as a rule and a theme, you guys are going to be attracted to Gemini archetype people. people who display those traits, the mercurial traits. And in my last two videos I've done Venus in Aries, Venus in Taurus, there's more of a focus around the physical in terms of attraction when it comes to a relationship. Venus in Gemini is a little bit different here. This is mutable air. It's the air, thinking and communicating. So the physical attraction isn't so much for you guys, and it's more the mind. You're attracted to people's mind and personality over the look. Someone could win you over if someone's got the wit and the banter. They could win you over with their talk, not just about the physical appearance. And you would have found as a Venus in Gemini, the types of partners you had are different from one another. You guys don't necessarily have a type. It's all on the mind, that there has to be a mental connection that you form. Because this is a mutable Venus sign, there's an element of scatteredness that comes across with this, where you'll find a Venus in Gemini person will one day be into doing this and one day be into doing that. Their interests and hobbies are changeable. They will turn their hand to many different things. They need that sort of spice and variety. They're very adaptable as people. So you need to know if you're getting with a Venus in Gemini person, they're not going to be consistent. It's not going to be the same consistent personality every single day. No, you're going to meet different sides to this person, and you need to be able to keep up with that, because they're not going to stop. They're changeable, they're mutable, which is why ideally you need a partner that can obviously deal with that, and a person who's very good at adapting, basically, someone who's can have a laugh, a joke, fun, intelligent, and all of that good stuff, but we'll get further onto that in a little bit. There's also a level of impulsiveness with the Gemini energy. Wow, it's fast, especially if you're an Aries sun sign as well. If you're an Aries sun or a Gemini sun with your Venus in Gemini, then impulsive. Not much forethought sometimes, you just do things. This is a sign that needs variety in their day-to-day. These are not people that do well with the mundane lifestyle, with boredom. As I said right at the beginning, you don't want to be bored. You guys need to feel like you're doing something all the time. So Venus in Gemini loves a random.com situation. You love a partner that's just like, should we go here? Should we go and do this? Should we go and do that? Just spontaneous, spontaneity, a level of spontaneity with them. You love that, a bit of fun and spice. And you, as I said, they have many different hobbies, etc., many different interests that they'll put their finger to from time to time, and they need you as their partner to be able to support that and understand it. If you're going to try and restrict them and be like, you should just do this, and try and put them in a box, it's not going to work. They're going to want to break free from that. As I said, this is a sign that very much values freedom. Laughter is another thing that's very important. One of the keys, ways to a Gemini heart is through laughter. Venus in Taurus, my last video, key to a Venus in Taurus heart is food. Their love language is food. Your guys' love language, laughter, banter. If you can have a partner that can have a laugh and a joke and gets your childish side that you've got sometimes. For example, it wouldn't really work too well for you in a relationship if you had a partner who took things too seriously and didn't like it when you were being silly. Like, no, you need the childish banter, someone that can join in and have a crack, basically, because Venus in Gemini likes to kind of hang on to they're in touch with their inner child, should we say that? Freedom is another big thing. Within a relationship, you guys need freedom. There has to be an element of freedom. This is not a Venus sign that likes restrictions. So if you are really, there are some Venus signs out there that are like more controlling than others. For example, Venus in Taurus, Venus in Scorpio, more controlling Venus signs. Venus in Gemini doesn't want that. They do not want restriction. You're not going to do well joined at the hip, or if you're trying to get to know someone, trying to get to date someone, and they're really intense and full on and just too much at first, it's going to just put you off, because you need that element of freedom to go off and do your own things. You like to have your own time, but you'd also like to have time with your partner. And when it comes to a relationship as well, another very important thing that you guys need, of course, is mental stimulation. You're not attracted to dumb, silly people. You haven't got time for that. You need someone who's switched on. So a mental connection is very important for you to form. And as I said, if someone's got the right chat, the right banter, they might be able to win you over. You value somebody that is intellectual, and we're not talking about just book smart and knows every single thing, no, but someone who's quick-witted, sharp-minded, who can hold those interesting conversations that you like to have. As a Venus in Gemini, you are a communicative person. This is Mercury ruled. Mercury is thinking and communicating. So communicating within a relationship is an important part, and you like to be able to freely communicate how you want around your partner. Again, if you're with somebody that tried to put restrictions on how you communicate, these are the things that are going to make you mentally start to check out. So you need someone that can have all those witty, silly little jokes and have a laugh, but someone who also can have deep, meaningful conversations about all types of topics. This is a sign that likes to be in conversation with their other half, you know, that they'll wake up in the morning, they want to send you a good morning text, you talk to you throughout the day, FaceTime you, what you doing, babe, you know, just they like to be chatty, come home at the end of the day and have a partner that they can talk to and communicate with about how they feel, maybe get some advice off. And of course, if you can find a partner that can teach you something that stimulates your mind, that has very interesting things to show you, that's another winning thing for you in a relationship that you kind of need to keep it going, because your love language is through the mind. How you love is with your mind. And this is why I think with Venus in Gemini, it has such a reputation, as I'm sure you've heard many times before, of not being the most committed sign when it comes to being in a relationship. But it's just more of a case that it takes a while for you to find the right mental connection with someone in order for you to stay in that monogamous long-term situation. Even though this is a very communicative Venus sign, there are times when a Venus in Gemini doesn't want to communicate at all, and this is where the freedom and time alone comes into it within a relationship, because they have such a busy mind. There's so much going on in there. They've got so many things they want to do. They have all these plans. Their diary's busy. They're busy people, and they can mentally burn out. And that means that sometimes they have to go within their own space to kind of process their own internal thoughts, their own internal communication with themselves before they feel ready to go and talk again. So if you're with a Venus and Gemini person and they've gone really, really quiet, which is that's unusual, isn't it? So there's probably something going on. It's when they're stressed out. So be mindful of that and keep an eye out for that. Of course, Venus and Gemini is very sharp, very witty, very good with them, very quick with their communication. So when it comes to arguing, debating, the Gemini archetype, it can be an argumentative archetype just in general. Whatever place, whatever planet you've got sitting in that sign, just makes you have this ability to debate, because you like to use your words. You're like, ha 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 ha. They're not, but you know, they're not nasty about it. They just like to flex it. It kind of depends at what side of the Gemini energy that you are operating on. Of course, there is lower vibrations of the sign that can lead over to the more manipulative tendencies, playing mind games with people. For some of you Venus and Geminis out there, but not everyone. Venus represents lust, and we're mixing lust with the sign of the mind, the archetype and planet that represents the mind. Therefore, that's why a mental connection is needed for you Venus and Geminis, especially when it comes to a relationship. And that's why you are classed as the sapiosexuals of the zodiac, the air Venuses, sapiosexuals, because you're attracted to intelligence and the mind and the stimulating conversations. That is what you need. If someone can't communicate with you well, they can't keep up with your thoughts, and they don't like how changeable you are, that's what's not going to work. Because it being such a communicative sign when it comes to relationships can also cause some issues, because Venus and Gemini likes to relate to people. This is Mercury, likes to talk. So you guys can come across as a bit flirty. You've probably always been told that you're a bit flirty, and some people can get the wrong impression from that and think that you're coming on to them in some way, and you're not. It's just that that's how it is. You've got a bit of a flirty vibe to you. You can just kind of talk to anybody from all walks of life, strike up a conversation anywhere. You like to talk. There's many different types of relationships that Venus and Gemini might get into. So, you know, they might get into a normal heterosexual relationship, but also they may be open to polyamorous relationship, polyamory, you know, being attracted to members of the same sex, bisexual, transsexual, just a different sexual orientation, especially if you've got any aspects to Uranus, to your Venus sign. But that's where it can come into play with Venus and Gemini. But just being open and having possibly multiple relationships, even seeing multiple people at the same time. You've got one boyfriend for this, one boyfriend for that, one friend for this reason, one friend for that reason. It's just different people. Geminis build up a good network. They just know many different people, especially when it comes to the local surroundings. But and because it is the local surroundings and area, it's most likely you guys date from within your local area. You bump into people, the people that you meet when you're out and about, and you know, it's siblings, neighbours, close things like that. So you might be the type of person that would date your friend's brother or date your friend's sister, for example, or somebody that you've been friends with. That's the vibe that Venus and Gemini likes, like friends first. Like, don't try and rush these people into a committed relationship instantly, because they're going to be like, oh, they don't like restriction. Some of the things that you're not looking for in a relationship is somebody who's really boring and really rigid and does the same old thing every single day, doesn't like to try anything new, doesn't like to learn anything new, doesn't like to expand their mind. These are not things that you're attracted to. You're not attracted to unintelligent people. You're not attracted to people who aren't adaptable and changeable and always trying to evolve, because when it comes to relationship, you don't want someone that's going to slow you down in any way, or someone who's just going to kind of dampen rain on your parade. You know, you want someone who's going to be spontaneous with you and grow with you and go and experience life together, go off, travel, do things, go out and about. But just in general, you learn a lot from your relationships, and that's how you grow and change, and you learn the types of people you do and don't want. And it might take you until you're a little bit older, until you feel like you've found the right person, someone who you can settle down with properly. Let's have a look at the different sun combinations with the Venus in Gemini. So if you're a Cancer sun sign with your Venus in Gemini, then interesting one, because it's slightly conflicting in energies, because it's introverted in the expression of the sun sign and then extroverted in the Venus sign. So you may not relate to all the nurturing Cancerian traits that they talk about, because when it comes to relationships, you might not want to be taking care of somebody all the time and being all homely like that. No, you want the spice and variety, you know, and feeling that, even though you're a Cancer sun, which is quite homely, etc., but you want the Venus in Gemini, you feel that, like, not wanting the restrictions. So you must be able to relate to those traits. Slightly conflicting though, because the energies are in conjunct, they don't see each other. If you're an Aries sun sign and your Venus is in Gemini, then that's quite a full-on energy, because it's double male, it's double extrovert. The energies are sextile as well, so they do complement each other. But this is an impulsive person. This is somebody, or when it comes to an argument, sun sign Aries, Venus in Gemini, these people can argue, probably display more of aggressive traits actually as well, but it's very strong. So definitely like to have a laugh. Freedom is going to be so important if you're an Aries sun, Venus in Gemini. These are two signs that value freedom very, very much. So freedom within a relationship, going out and having fun and having an adventure is definitely a must. Now, if you're a Gemini sun and you're a Gemini Venus, then because whenever you have got a planet that's really close to the sun, that's working with the sun, it amplifies that energy. So you're going to be double Gemini. It's complementing each other, because it's the same energy, isn't it? So you guys are going to be all the Gemini things that we've discussed throughout the video. You're going to be adaptable. You like change, spice, variety, going out, having a laugh. It's very powerful when you've got a sun and Venus combination there. Now, you could also be a Taurus sun. Let's say you've got your sun's in Taurus and your Venus is in Gemini. Similar to the Cancer sun and Venus in Gemini, slightly conflicting. They're in conjunct, they don't see each other, and the expression is feminine. And when it comes to relationships, it's male, it's masculine, it's extroverted. So all of the Taurus type themes of liking to do the same day to day, don't move. I mean, you're going to appreciate stability, etc. But when it comes to your relationships and other things like that, you are going to want and need that spice and variety, someone that can keep you on your toes, someone that does want to go out and do something. Then you could also be a Leo sun. If you could have a Leo sun and your Venus could be in Gemini. And again, this is going to be let me just jump back. Sorry guys, let me just jump back to say about the Taurus. One thing I didn't want to miss out was that because it's a fixed sign, Taurus is fixed, independence and time alone in a relationship is definitely key for that sun sign and Venus sign combination. So time alone is going to be very important, as well as having time to go out and have fun in a relationship. Taurus sun sign definitely needs that space. And That's a similar theme there with the Leo sun. So let's get back onto it properly. So if you're a Leo sun and your Venus is in Gemini, then again, when it comes to relationships, you're going to want your freedom. It's a fixed sun sign, and Gemini, being the mutable air, needs freedom. It doesn't like restrictions. It's double extroverted, it's double male, but energies are sextile, so they work well together. If you've got this combination, it makes for a really charming person. If you Leo sun, Leos are charming. They're ruled by the sun. You know what I mean? So they really light up a room and they draw attention to themselves, and then they're charming anyway. The Leo energy is charming, but mixing in the communicative abilities that Venus and Gemini gives you, these people just, wow. Some of the most charming people of the zodiac, I would imagine. Venus is also a money indicator, and it gives us a really good idea on how we should earn our money in this lifetime. So because it's mutable, you guys, what you do for work is a changeable situation. You're not meant to just do one thing in this lifetime. You're meant to evolve and change, turn your hand to many different types of career, and even because it's dual, even having more than one career at once. It also depends where your Venus is falling, because if it's in the 2nd, 6th or 10th house, then your Venus's sign is more geared at career. But when it just comes to money in general, like Venus and Taurus, the last video, Venus, these are savers. These are people that want to save for like the next 50 years, for example. Not so much with Venus and Gemini. I mean, unless you're a Taurus sun, then yes, maybe more stable when it comes to having a stable flow of money. But Venus and Gemini is an impulsive energy, isn't it? Impulsive spending. You go out shopping and you're like, right, I'm going to spend 50 quid, this is what I'm going to go and get. You come back, you spent £200 and got 3 things you didn't plan to get. Venus and Gemini, that's just Venus and Gemini. When it comes to the actual working environment where you should be in, a theme throughout the video, guys, is freedom. You don't want restriction, so you need an environment where you can move, get up, not just sitting at a desk all day or sitting in one environment, something that allows you to get up and move, basically. Of course, somewhere where you can communicate with people. You need to be around other people, being in a busy environment, a fast-paced environment, being able to talk. Solitary confinement, working completely by yourself, it may not necessarily be for Venus and Gemini type people. Obviously, it depends on the rest of your chart. You could have a load of fixed energy, a load of Aquarius energy, and it might not be so much of a big deal having more time alone like that and working alone. But in general, Venus and Gemini needs a job where they can move, have freedom, not be restricted. There needs to be an element of trust and where they can communicate with people. And as I said, this is such a multi-talented energy. There's so many different types of career you could turn your hand to. And you probably found Venus and Gemini, you've trained to do one career, and then once you've started, you're like, actually, no, I feel like doing something else now. And then you're trying to do that. But that's what you're here to do, to be mutable and to change. So follow those passions, follow those interests. There are, of course, some Venus and Geminis that can stay in a job for a longer term basis, but you know, you've probably got some Taurus energy, some more fixed energy in your chart that's allowing you that sort of comfort, or it's a really good environment that, you know, just allows you to communicate and progress. Like it's a multifaceted type situation where there's more than one level to the company and you wouldn't stay stuck in one position. You're very adaptable in the workplace. You're the type of person that just roll up the sleeves and do something new and turn your hand at anything, basically. A very good colleague, you know, you are received well by your co-workers because you like to be relatable. Venus and Gemini likes to relate. So this just leaves you with so many opportunities of things that you could do. So different types of career paths that would be suitable for a Venus and Gemini. And as we said, you could be doing more than one career at once, or just turn your hand to these different things throughout your life. So anything to do, of course, with thinking and communicating is a winner chicken dinner. So being a writer, being a journalist, anything like podcasts, writing blogs, anything that involves communication. You guys do amazingly well on social media, using all the social media. Look how many social media platforms there are here, guys, that you can jump on, set up a channel, share your information, share your knowledge with the world, and make money from that. But anything also to like a radio presenter, DJ, politicians. There are so many politicians that are Gemini, being up on stage, being up in the limelight for public speaking. Cancer Sun, Taurus Sun, more introverted, maybe not so much, but for the Aries, Gemini, Leo Suns, public speaking, being on the stage, especially for Leo Sun, Venus and Gemini, this is actor energy, actresses. Being on the stage, being in the limelight, changing your persona. Sales. Gemini's gift of the gab. You know how to make a good deal. You know how to talk your way in and out of situations. You'd make a lot of money doing sales. I mean, The corporate environment might not be where you want to be the most, because it's like, you know, it can be a more of a rigid environment, but you would make a lot of money. You naturally can relate to people, you naturally can get on with people. Being an interpreter, especially if you've got Venus in Gemini in the 9th house, for example, being an interpreter of other languages, something to do with music. There are plenty of musicians out there that have got Venus in Gemini. I mean, look at Kendrick Lamar, for example, his Venus in Gemini. Look at his rap style. He's so intelligent with it. He's very different from the rest of the rappers because he brings a level of intelligence. He makes you think. He's rapping and you're thinking about what he's saying. For the Kendrick Lamar fans out there, some of you might not be, but just to give you an example of someone who has that placement, how quick and intelligent and witty they can be with their style. I want to finish up now, guys, and just talk about progressions and transits quickly, because these are important things to consider. So progressions, at some point in your life, Venus in Gemini, you're going to evolve into being a Venus in Cancer. Have a look in your chart. Where are you now? Where is your progressed Venus sign? Because this is important to understand and depends on your relatability to this video. Because if you have evolved into the Venus in Cancer, or when you do evolve into that stage, you're going to want to be at home more. This is when you are going to be more homely and will want to slow down and will want a more emotional connection when it comes to your relationship, and you'll have fun more at home. Like it will just change. You won't want to be so busy all of the time. So take that into consideration. And also transits. Of course, you've got your birth chart where everything was at the time you were born, but everything's constantly moving around us as we speak. And for example, on the 5th of June 2023, Venus entered into Leo. And it's going to stay there for an extended period because it retrogrades, so it's going to retrograde. So have a look at your chart, guys. Where is the Leo area of your chart? Have a look. Where in your chart is that affecting? Where is the Venus influence affecting you? Because the planets influence different areas of our chart and highlight different themes for us at all times. And it's always good to keep up with what's going on now, as well as what was going on when you were born. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. That was my video on Venus in Gemini. If there was anything that I said that you liked, could relate to, then drop me a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then of course subscribe and come with me on my astro journey through YouTube. I really want to say a big thank you to all of you out there who've already clicked subscribe and staying up to date with me. I really appreciate it. And coming up in my next video, we're going to be talking about Venus in Cancer. We're going to carry on through this series. So I'll see you in my next video.